what day it's been. It's the third day of Expand North Star. I've completely forgotten. My week started on Sunday, but I think it's Tuesday.
Yes,
Where?
it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, October 14th, and I'm Wet Ahmed. So before we get into summarizing the event yesterday and what happened, the top stories of the day for today, firstly, is that Elon Musk's Dubai Loop is going to be launched by Q2 2026. It's really exciting. We'll tell you more about it later. And secondly, Abu Dhabi has launched the world's first smartphone marriage service via the TEM app. Now your bros are going to be getting married through their phones, and I can't believe it. And Microsoft right now is making headlines once again because they have an engineer who's been working for them for 13 years who has resigned.
But we'll start with obviously where we are at. We're at Expand North Star. If you're listening, you can come join us tomorrow as well. Tomorrow is the last day. Today is day 3. Jitex is at day 2 today. Yesterday we felt a little empty here because it was the first day, opening day of Jitex.
I got FOMO.
Yeah, so everyone was there. It's the more lavish part of the whole thing that is happening right now. It's Jitex Global. Yesterday, me and Worth were talking about it, and it's very interesting how all of this came into being. Jitex was an event which kept happening. DWTC, the Dubai World Trade Center, has been the host of this event for a long time, but they wanted to do something else.
And
they wanted their own name.
That's why we have Expand North Star.
They wanted to be the organizer of one of the biggest events and then Expand North Star, which is primarily for startups. It's a very big confusion. Still, people are coming to us and they're like, oh, what's the difference? This is for startups. This is mostly for investors to come see the startups. We have 2,000 startups this year. Last year, we had 17 to 1,800 startups. We have 1,100 investors this year at Expand North Star. Their complete assets under management, the money basically that they have is $1.1 trillion. That is what Expand North Star is marketing.
That is absolutely
so
crazy.
it's $1.1 trillion up for grabs only at Expand North Star. And then you go to Jitex and you see not pavilions. I think the idea of pavilion has become old. You see districts now. Yesterday, one of our teammates, Parth, was there and he was at the G42 district.
It's almost like a tech expo.
Yeah.
It's almost like a tech expo. But just to get into yesterday and all the panels that we've seen, I think one that particularly stood out to me was the one with Fadi Kendur, the former founder of Aramix and the executive chairman of WAMDA Capital. And he basically came onto the stage, Majid, with Nunu Kazan and the chief HR officer of G42 to basically talk about how AI is completely disrupting everything. And I think that something so interesting that he said that stood out to me was the fact that AI is not an evolution. He was like, the internet is an evolution because with the internet, I feel like over the years, they kind of kept giving us more and more slowly. You know, it wasn't something that was like bam in your face. It wasn't, you know, over time you had these new apps launching. If you think about it, I know that they're trying to sell a stake of TikTok US right now, but TikTok did not come, this early. We had Musical.ly, I think, before it. So, he basically said that with internet, it's an evolution, but with AI, it's a revolution. It is something that is coming at you at speeds that you absolutely cannot control. And you have to keep up with it.
Yeah, I know I will sound very old when I say that, but even before Musical.ly, there was an app which was called Vines.
Yes!
So Vines was the original idea where you had short form videos and it had 5 seconds. That's it. It didn't even allow you to record more than that. So you had 5 seconds to do whatever you want. Then they extended the time and then Instagram came, TikTok came, a lot of other platforms. Facebook became big, YouTube became big with videos. So they somehow died a slow natural death because they didn't evolve. But I saw somewhere like 1 or 2 months ago, I read somewhere that they're bringing Vines back because of the short form video content that is now the main norm. It's not 10 minutes videos on YouTube. It's the 30-second, 15-second short, crisp clips that work now. So all that was here. We saw so many startups. We went to the Palestine Pavilion. It was really interesting. Worth will tell you about the lady she talked to. We met the founder of Intersect. Basically, Intersect is a company which is working to bring these companies, Palestinian startups, to Dubai to scale. That's the word that they use to scale, to come here, to settle here, to grow here, to network here, to get funding here. I'll tell you about the two startups that the founder told, and then Word will tell you what they're doing. One of them was
Intersect Hub.
yeah, one of the startups that they brought from Palestine was taking care of your horse's diet. And I was like, does this work? People actually care about this stuff? And they're like, yeah, it's very well funded startup.
Yeah.
They have an annual recurring revenue of at least $500 to $600,000, $500,000. People want to take care of their horses, so they want to know when to feed them which season you want to give them which food. So it's a whole setup. And then there was a startup which was about bees. So whenever we talk about startups, I was telling the founder Hatib the same thing that Ratib is the Intersect CEO and founder of this. And I was asking him, I was like, do people invest in this or do people use these startups? Because whenever we talk about startups, the biggest startups are fintech, Tabby, Tamara, buy now, pay later, pay now, buy later, do something about payments or anything, simplifying payments. But these startups are also making waves and they're coming out of a country which has been under siege for nearly 2 years now. It has been under siege for decades, but people
Under
are
a
thinking.
genocide.
Yeah.
And I think with the entire pavilion, what I found so inspiring is, I was talking to some of them and I was like, oh, like, do you guys live here? They're like, no, we don't live here. We live in Palestine. And I was like, oh my God, like, how did you get here? Was it difficult for you? And how were the procedures like? And I remember one of the employees from Intersect Hub. Intersect Hub, by the way, is powered by the Bank of Palestine.
Yeah.
I believe
And
that's where their funding
Dubai
is from.
Digital Commerce.
Yes.
Dubai Chambers of Commerce.
Yes, and what I found so interesting is, the girl Sura, she was telling me how, for her, she's privileged enough to have a Jordanian passport, which is what makes it easier for her to move around, for her to travel, to make it here. But not everyone actually has the privilege to get that passport, which is something I was completely surprised about. Remember that story that you did recently, Majid, where apparently Jordan is granting citizenship and like this new
for $1 million.
and it just completely like blew up. The story blew up, like it did great. It was done really well by you. But it was interesting hearing that perspective. And I think what I found even more inspiring is the fact that Intersect Hub, they signed an MOU with the Syrian hub, and it's basically to cause this like collaboration between Palestinian startups and Syrian startups. And I found that so inspiring because if you take a look at the economic state, political state of both countries, they're both right now on the come up, and for them to team up together, to work together, to acknowledge each other's struggles, but rather use it as something to move forward, I found that to be something so inspiring. I think that you can find so much in community, and I think that's what Fadi was trying to emphasize. You know what he basically said, Majid? He was basically talking about how in the past with AI, with funding fintech startups, whatever it was, what we saw was that it was actually the venture funds who were funding it. But now we're seeing that it's the sovereign wealth funds that are actually funding the boom. And specifically the sovereign wealth funds, it's important for them to do it because there are systems of power, there are systems of government. And if you have the government giving people that funding, what's going to happen? People are going to want to open their companies here, which is what we're seeing with Dubai. People are, there's going to be that wealth magnet that is really going to happen here. And I think that's something so important for us to build our own region. I think that is amazing. And I met him. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like a total fan. I'm an idol. And Magic, why I really admire the guy? Because, I remember before I even knew he was a founder of Aramix, I thought and this is my own bias, which reflects the media bias. I thought it was an American company. I was like, oh, Aramix, because it went so global, it went so big.
Even the name itself is very, right?
Right? And the red, it was just such a global logo. I'm like, like this came from a Western country, but no, it came from a Jordanian Palestinian who founded the company, and then he goes on, he sells his stake, I believe, to Abu Dhabi Royals.
ADQ is now the majority owner.
And then what does he do? He goes on to create Wamda Capital, and Wamda, by the way, is a backer of Zena, is a backer of the luxury closet, of Tabby. So, for someone to do this much for the region, like, he's not just saying it. He's not just saying, oh, like, I want to build my own region. He's actually doing it, and he's done it successfully. He's a good businessman. I think we can actually say that about him.
The interesting thing about Fadi that I find is that we talk a lot about Mr. Al-Abbar, Mr. Khalaf Al-Abdur, the billionaires who are into real estate, who are into hotels, hospitality, this and that. He is one of the founders of a company which actually took the money out when he made money and made other companies successful as well. He's not just focused on Vamda or Aramex. He's focused on bringing up and coming startups, seeing the potential in them, and then them becoming bigger than him. And he's fine with it, because as long as it comes from the region, from the people of the region, for the people of the region, he's happy with it. These are very nice silent contributors, which we very rarely find in the world even. Elon Musk is one of the biggest examples. The world's richest man is still fighting OpenAI to not convert it into an NGO, because he and Sam Altman started it. I'm giving you a Western example because in the Western world, you don't see a lot of companies which go in just to make the people from the region successful. We were talking about Andreessen Horowitz yesterday, that Jared Kushner is trying to become Andreessen Horowitz of... Yeah, he's actually become that. But Andreessen Horowitz, you pick up any startup in the Western world, in Silicon Valley, which is big, which is a unicorn, or even a nice up-and-coming startup, you will find A16Z written there, Andreessen Horowitz. You will see that.
Or Y Combinator, Sequoia Capital.
But why are these companies there? They're there to make money. They never thought about it that, oh, we want to make US the biggest market or this. The intention with Fadi and all the other people here who have funds, who are VCs, who are investing in startups, the intention is different. They want to make money. Obviously, everyone wants to make money. If I invest $1 million in a company, I would want to make money. But the intention is pretty pure.
There's this national...
that we want the Arab people to come.
Purpose.
It's not even national. It's pan-Arabism at a very nice stage in the world. Pan-Arabism is a theory that the Arab world wanted to combine together against everyone. But to be honest, this is financial pan-Arabism, where they want the Arab founders to come forward, Arab startups to come forward, Arab startups to lead the categories across the globe, become the biggest startup in the world. So it's very nicely a financial pan-Arabism. But yeah, this is happening at Northside. It's one. Sometimes, yesterday I was talking to one of the CEOs of a company, ESG MENA, and he said, no, these startups, 90% of them fail. I was like, that's not the problem. The problem is that they are at least trying. And that is what we want to see. You need to see that at least people from this region, from UAE, from Saudi, Qatar, Palestine, we have a pavilion. We have Malaysia, we have other, right in front of us is Ecuador. Everyone is at least trying to make something. Make the world a better place through an app, through a system, through something. And that's what matters. I know 90% of them fail, but at least maybe with their idea, someone can build on that idea and make something new.
But you know what it also is, I think, Majid? I think it's about, you need to have a good track record. Yesterday I was telling my mother, we were talking about Tabby. My mother loves tabbying things. She really does. And she was talking to me about it, and I was telling her how I met Fadi, and I keep mentioning it. I'm never gonna stop. I'm sorry, guys. And my mom was like, "Why is it such a big deal?" And I was telling her how he funded Tabby, and then I was like, the guy who founded Tabby is the same guy who co-founded Namshi.
Yeah.
And my mom, with her online addiction, was like, "You're freaking joking. That is crazy." Hussam Arab.
Yeah.
And so I think with this is, yes, we can come in and say that 90% of them fail, as you said, but the people who actually kept going are the people who have a really good record.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can find that record, if you can keep going the same way that Hussam Arab kept going, like, he didn't stop at Namshi. He was like, fine, Mohammed Al-Abbar, you own Namshi now.
I'll make a new one.
This is none of my business. I'm moving on. And I think that's what's so important about this region. They keep moving on. They keep building bigger and better.
I think it's the Arab culture, to be honest. I've realized after living here for 3 years. But in Pakistan, we have very common practices, very close to Arab culture because of Islam.
Yeah.
So we know that these people don't give up. They don't give up. And that's what all the entrepreneurs in this region are doing. They're not giving up. They're not giving up to the Western powers that, oh, you have made this startup, you've brought it to the Middle East, and you own a big market. No problem. We'll make a local startup, localize it, put local aspects, local something into it. We'll give it our own touch, and we'll beat you. not even like compete with you, will literally beat you. And we've seen that with Amazon in this region.
Yeah.
To be honest, in UAE, if someone tells you they're using Amazon, it's for like very big sales. That's it. Otherwise, it's always Noon, it's always Talabat, it's always Deliveroo, it's always a local startup that everyone in their everyday uses.
I'm telling you,
So this shows you.
e-commerce has become like the next big four.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. And not just that, like remember that speech Majid from the UAE's AI minister, Omar Al-Alama, when he said that, the UAE might be a desert, but we're building from, this black canvas.
Yeah.
I think what he said, it's so interesting. And just like going back, to your roots, being from Pakistan, being South Asian, I think that I know that this is a point that's repeated a lot, but it's so big. It was just a desert. It was. There was a time where, businessmen in the UAE, their job was to pearl dive, get the pearls, go to the UK, sell the pearls, get the money, go buy gold from India, trade in gold. There was so much that went into this and it had to do with natural resources. So the fact that now, they have digital resources now, they have AI resources now, in such a short amount of years, like, are you kidding me? This is crazy.
To be honest, I would go as far as saying that even if they didn't discover oil, to be honest, with the ambition that these people have, that I've seen here, with the leadership, like, who else goes to GITEX? His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid and His Highness Sheikh Hamdan. We were expecting Sheikh Hamdan to come here at Expand Northstar last year, 2 years in a row. Yeah, I came on Sunday to just see him because last 2 years he came at the opening, but this year he chose to go to GITEX because obviously GITEX makes more sense for the Crown Prince of Dubai and for the next ruler of Dubai. It makes sense now. It's a very nice story where you see Sheikh Mohammed, always the Dubai ruler, always going to GITEX. Sheikh Hamdan coming here. To be honest, it looks like a change of guard as well. It looks like a change of leadership that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed wants his Sheikh Hamdan to now take the lead at the more important events. Because they have to someday.
Did you see at the World Government Summit? It was His Highness Sheikh Hamdan who was there when the agreement was signed for Elon Musk's transit loop. So you are right, actually. You're proving a pretty good point here.
Let's move on from Expand Now, sir. Just quickly do our stories for the day. And the biggest story, His Excellency Umar Sultan Al Ulama, the UAE AI Minister. He was here on Sunday at Expand Northstar, but yesterday he went to GITEX day one and he said that the Boring Company by Elon Musk is planning to launch Dubai Loop. To give you an idea what it is, it's just a tunnel system where one car at a time moves, but you can't drive it. It usually moves at its own pace. It's kind of like a train network, an underground train network, but with cars.
No, but just to give you some crazy numbers here, they're trying to get 17 kilometers of it ready by Q2 2026. They're going to have 20,000 passengers per hour. I could not believe what I'm reading. This is crazy. First we hear about flying taxis, and now we're hearing about this.
Yeah.
I mean, that is absolutely mad.
And it makes sense in a city where Dubai, to be honest, a lot of people are coming here. And whenever people come, it's the housing problem, it's the living problem, it's the traffic problem.
Imagine, I was stuck in traffic for 2 hours yesterday.
It happens.
For
Whenever
2
there is
hours.
GITEX, whenever there is big events, Gulf Food, whenever there is any big event in DWTC, thankfully all of these events, to be honest, are moving in 2026. And the worst case scenario by 2027 to DWC, the Dubai, not DWC, DEC, Dubai Exhibition Center and Expo. So everything that happens now at Dubai World Trade Center will move there. So you'll just take the metro, get out at Expo 2020 and enjoy the views of Expo 2020 and just take part and go back. So a lot of traffic will be diverted there.
But just on the topic of Dubai doing absolutely everything, the fact that you can now get married through your smartphone, through the TEM app, this is crazy. This is big news. Basically, I believe for a fee of 300 dirhams.
That's it?
Yep, 300 dirhams. You can now get married online on the app TEM, and you can get your marriage contract PDF. This is absolutely mad. It is. Imagine now your bros are going to come tell you, imagine I got married through my phone.
and be like, "Where's the food? Where's the whole ceremony?"
Like, I wonder if
To
you're
be
going to be
honest,
able to get divorced through your phone now.
I know there's a financial aspect to it. I know there's a economic
Yeah.
aspect to it. That marriage is a very difficult thing to do in this economy. The rings are very expensive. The whole setup is very expensive. The clothes are super expensive, marriage clothes. But again, I think this is the idea of them making it easier for people who don't want a lavish wedding. They just want tie the knot in the simplest way possible. And I know everyone has a dream, every girl has a dream to become a bride, every man. But now they won't be spending a lot on all the things that they can avoid.
You think, imagine
Yeah.
they're the first country in the
Yeah.
world to do this. In fact, I actually had a friend who recently got married, and on her story, when she posted it, she posted an iPad. She's signing the marriage contract with an iPad. So this was already out and about, and people are already using it. I think that much more than making marriage cheaper, I think
Yeah.
it's this fact of not everyone really wants to go to the courtroom. I think that
Yeah.
people want to have it lavishly in an event, and you
Yeah.
can just pull the iPad out. I mean,
Yeah.
whoa, like things
So
just got easier.
I just saw it, 800 for the virtual meeting where I think an alim would be there, a guy who would
What?
officiate your
A
marriage.
virtual meeting with a chef.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm
you'll
shocked.
have a meeting with them for 800, and for 300 you can get your marriage certificate. So you can be very well dressed, nicely dressed, sitting in front of a laptop at your home, get your marriage certified, and then maybe throw a party at home for 10, 15 people who are close to you. So there's like 100 possibilities that you can do with it. But again, we talk about technological innovation. This is one of the things which is very important to make things easier, to make processes easier. Before it was go to the court, do the thing, and then
Yeah.
get a certificate and all that. Now just sit at the comfort of your home,
Yeah.
get married, get the certificate delivered at your home, and enjoy the time with your friends and family. So it's just making things efficient, and that's the idea here.
It
Just
is.
make everything efficient enough that people don't have. Yesterday, Love in Dubai did a very nice post where in Dubai you literally don't have to even press a button. You go to the washroom, you put your hand out, you get water, you get the soap, you get the tissues out without even pressing a button.
Just literally leave your hand like this.
So they're making it so convenient, and that is one of the reasons everyone wants to move here.
Yeah, and I think that just as all these Westerners are quitting their jobs in these U.S. companies, this is the perfect time to come here. And just speaking of that, this story made headlines over the weekend. This Microsoft engineer who's been working in the company for 13 years has quit. His name is Scott Glowski, and he basically sent an email to all the employees, by the way. And he was like, you know,
Email at all.
he was like, I can't keep enabling the worst atrocities. And, you know, to think that probably for 13 years, I mean, come on, imagine, this guy probably got a crazy pay raise. Over those 13 years, the promotions, especially working at a reputable company like Microsoft, that's also in tech, so we know that the salaries are probably pretty high. For him to quit, that's so telling of how the tide is really changing and people are waking up. And I don't just think, by the way, Magic, that that's a sign of the tide changing and people finally understanding that, you know, companies being complicit in genocide is wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's also a part of the tide pointing people to new directions.
Yeah.
People would not quit jobs if they didn't think that there would be other companies that would be there to welcome
Yeah.
them. And I think that now everyone's waking up. You have an ecosystem of companies that will allow you to have, you know, your freedom of speech while also working for them, which
Yeah.
people are realizing, I think.
Yeah. And the idea is he referenced an Associated Press report in his email where he said that Israeli military has 635 active Microsoft subscriptions. So they're using Microsoft for a lot of stuff that they're doing. So that is one of the things that he referenced to. We've seen so many protests. The Microsoft anniversary when Bill Gates sitting on the stage, every big guy that you can think of, Satya Nadella sitting on the stage, everyone sitting there, and people standing up and protesting against the
No
genocide in
one's there for
Gaza.
apartheid.
So yeah, we've seen so many protests against them. One of the moves, to be honest, you should admire the moves that they do. They took back their cloud computing services back from the Israeli military, the IDF,
Only
because
from one unit.
yeah, they found out that they used it to store Palestinian calls, which we were monitoring illegally, recording illegally. So that is one of the moves that you should praise. But apart from that, it's a service. We talked about it, that it's a service that anyone can pay and buy. But I think this puts a lot of big companies under scrutiny, that they shouldn't be selling their services, or they should absolutely cancel all the services that they're already providing to people who they know are committing something which is against human values.
And I
And
think-
genocide is the
Yeah.
biggest thing that you can
And
talk
I
about.
think with Microsoft, I think the reason why people are very angry with them, it's not just because you have this group called No Reserve for Apartheid. It's filled with former Microsoft employees who, because of their protesting, got fired. And that group, by the way, I do really think what they're doing worked. They're protesting, doing a documentary with TRT, which was great, by the way. I
Yeah.
watched it. I think that with all of this, Majid, I think the reason why Microsoft specifically came under so much fire is because we saw how so many global giants changed their mind a bit earlier. Like, for example, you had Caterpillar, you had Maersk, the shipping giant, the construction giant, and then, what's it called? I'm thinking, Norway's $2 trillion sovereign wealth fund, the largest sovereign wealth fund in the world, announcing that they're cutting ties with so many Israeli companies. For all of these huge powers in the world to divest, to move away, and for Microsoft to still be there, kind of almost put them in that spotlight, I think.
Yeah, and it's important that they did. Thankfully, better late than never is the situation. The Gaza ceasefire deal is in action right now. Mr. Trump is in Egypt. He signed the deal. I don't know why he's signing the deal. It should be the Palestinian Authority and Israel. But I think he wants the Nobel Peace Prize, which is very important to him, apparently. Yesterday, I was looking at a video, and it was I forgot the name of the person and the designation, but someone asked her a question. I think she was the something of European Union, and someone asked her a question, does Trump deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? And her answer was so nice. She was like, no, Francesca Albanese deserves it. And the guy was like, so you're saying no, Mr. Trump shouldn't get it? She's like, no, focus on the person I'm telling you about, Francesca Albanese.
She put together a great report. Basically,
She's
with
the
all the tech
special
companies that listen.
envoy for Palestinian, the whole thing that happened. And
It's so weird what they're doing. It's like they're celebrating a birthday without the birthday person there.
Yeah.
Like it's just strange. But anyways, that's a wrap for today, everyone. This is the Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to come check us out at North Star Day 3.
Thank you very much. Take care and see you tomorrow.